everybody. Welcome to the Multifamily Legacy Podcast. I'm your host, Corey Peterson. We are on location with my great friend, Daniel Woods. But before we get into this episode, and this is going to be an epic one, I need you guys to do a couple things for me. First, as always, I love when you give me 5-star reviews on iTunes, okay? So if you haven't done so yet, please take the time. And I know it's a pain in the butt, but I love listening to them. And honestly, it helps rank this podcast. And hopefully we've been giving it to you really good. This episode's going to be totally epic. And then for those of you that are new, if you've never been on this podcast before, the first thing I need you to do is go to kahunawealthbuilders.com and sign up for the Quick Start Workshop. That in itself is going to lead you 6 or 7 videos, I believe, that is going to detail how you can start raising private money and how you can start totally building legacy wealth and getting lots of deal flow. So with that said, here we are, brother, on a rock, dude, in the middle of nowhere in the desert in Arizona.
That's how we roll, Corey, actually, you and I.
Yeah. So let me introduce Daniel Woods. I met Daniel probably, probably
about a year and a half
ago.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. And Daniel, if you would, just share with my audience, like, who you are, what you do, just kind of give a little bit of your backstory, your background.
Yeah, so I'm a photographer. I specialize in personal branding. And so what that is if you're an online entrepreneur or you are the face of your business, you are gonna need assets to market yourself so people know who you are, so they can know, like, and trust you. If they don't know who you are, they'll be less prone to do business with you. Mm-hmm. And you know, you can only have so many selfies, and when you have professional images, it just really elevates your status. I always tell my clients, you're a Ferrari, but you're masquerading as a Honda Civic. Right. And it's really true. I mean, when you see guys like Tony Robbins, all their pictures are always like looking epic and looking really pro, right?
So yeah. So let's explain, like, so how did you get into photography, by the way? Like, yeah, tell me a little bit more about that. And
yeah. So I'm an ocean addict. I love the ocean, and I had this crazy idea to do photography, but I thought, you know, I'm also really practical, right? And I'm like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna become a photographer and, like, you know, raise a family and buy a home and retire, like taking portraits of, you know. I'm like, no, this is stupid. But I had an idea to take my love of the ocean and the tourism in San Diego, and I started this really niche adventure photography business. And we take people in the ocean doing, like, really rad, like, kayaking and surf photography, like the kind of stuff you'd see like in a product placement ad for, like, Patagonia. Right. We were trying to produce this kind of material, not just like stupid, cheesy, you know, vacation photos. And so epic stuff. Yeah, epic stuff. Like, we had water housings. We should probably flash a few images from that on this, which we can probably. And anyway, so that's how I got my start. And then I just kind of drifted into doing commercial work as well. Just a few bumps in the road, a little bit of adversity. You met me, brother. Come on, man. Yeah. That's right. Listen, okay, so I gotta tell you the story of how we met, and it was really cool because my wife goes to Las Vegas with some friends, and Daniel was shooting some professional photography assets, and so my wife comes home and she's like, Corey, listen, we're going to go take some pictures. We're gonna go to Vegas, and she's like, this guy's gonna do it. Now, brace yourself, it's gonna be expensive, okay? Now, I've never paid a lot of money for photography ever, but I've never gotten the quality until I met you. And I knew right away, from the first moment we were on set, that there's a difference between being a guy behind a camera, just pushing the shutter, to a true artisan, right? Right. Meaning, listen, you got to know your gear, your camera, the lighting, I mean, the whole spectrum. Yeah. Can I chime in? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so a lot of photographers, they just show up to a shoot with just a camera. Like, that's it. Like, that's cool. Like, they're an ambient shooter. But to get really cool stuff that just sets you apart, it's lights. So when I come up to a shoot, at the very minimum, I'm gonna have an assistant holding a big, huge softbox, and that lets us just make images that are just really different than what you're used to seeing, and it's like, wow.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I mean, and that's what happened. So we did a personal shoot first, right? And so, but I saw, and actually, so this was the really cool thing. Shelly you wanted to shoot in the desert. Shelly wanted to do it high glam, like she wanted us in tuxes and stuff. And a lot of you guys that are following me, if you look at my Facebook profile, you'll see this epic shot. We call it, the one I have is the Queen Mother.
That's right.
Right.
The Queen Mother.
Right. And so Shelly's like all this. You want to do it in the desert. You had this cracked desert location that you like to shoot at. Yeah. And then you come up with the idea of saying, hey, dude, it would be epic if we had like this red couch in the middle of the desert. And so me and my wife went on an exhaustive search
at Craigslist
for a red couch.
Combing.
And we found it. And dude, that couch is epic. It made epic shots with my family.
It's like all vintage and velvety red.
Yeah, it was awesome, right? And the wood behind it that shines and the light hits it right. And so we took that thing and we made some epic personal photos. But from there, that's when we really turned it up. See, for our business, we never really shot business assets, right? And I call them assets, you call them assets as well.
Right.
And explain that. Why are they assets?
Well, because, so like talking about your personal shoot, that just took money out of Corey's pocket, right? And put it into Daniel's pocket, which is good, right? but it's great because it's beautiful. It captures his family as it was. But when I'm doing photography for Corey's business, those pictures make Corey money because they drive his marketing, they drive his message. And so this kind of photography in the commercial space actually makes you money rather than just takes money out of your pocket.
Right.
So on the one side, it's just a luxury consumption for disposable income.
Right.
On the other side, it's marketing. It's driving your message and it's getting return on investment.
Yeah. And really that is the difference. And not only do you do stills, but we shot. So we went from there to, we did a bunch of commercial assets for me and my wife, company, things like that. And then we started coming up with some bigger ideas. And we said, hey, let's go to Hawaii and shoot my backstory, the story that I want to tell about how I came to Hawaii and had a vision and a dream of what I'm doing now, which is doing apartments, right?
Yep.
And so you went with me and that was epic. We did a shoot. Remember the shoot that we did in the ocean? Yeah. Talk about that. That was so fun.
Listen, so like everything we do is like epic, right? We probably said this word epic like 50 billion times today, but it is.
I don't care.
Yeah. So I had this cool idea. So, because Corey, he helps people get out of that hustle and grind of fix and flip, right? And it's a grind, and people are stuck, like they are drowning in work. Right? And so, drowning in work. I thought, well, we're gonna be in Hawaii, the water's clear. I have the ability to take cameras underwater with water housings. Let's do a shot where we get Corey and a guy in our entourage to bring junker suits. They don't mind trashing in the ocean. So they wear suits. And we had Corey on the surface on a surfboard floating, reaching down to the guy like 8 feet down, floating like he's drowning with his hand reaching up. And we got this shot of Corey and it made the perfect social media post, drowning in work.
That one video right now is driving. It is the best, is the number one. I not even told you this. So in our marketing that we're doing right now, that 30-second video is outperforming all other videos right now.
Yeah, because it's different. It's not
totally
the same old
different.
Guy talking head video, right?
Yes.
That's cool. I didn't know that.
And
That's
it was like,
sweet, bro.
And dude, right? And it's like, and then not only that, so the shooting the video itself is great, but it's the post production of that video.
Right. Yeah.
Let's talk about post.
Right. So, well, even let's back up just a second. It's even before you shoot, you're going to be shooting for the edit, right? So if you know what you're shooting and why you're shooting it, then that helps you create the shots you need that you can then take and make magic out of later, right? But that's for like some things that are scripted. And then some things we're just capturing your journey and your trip in Hawaii.
Right.
And then that you got to take.
We call that B-roll, right?
Yeah, you take some B-roll, and that you need to mix up and turn into magic. And you got to take the poignant parts and put it with the speaking part that's just right to really emphasize the message.
Yeah.
And that's a really fun part of what I do.
In fact, I'm going to reference right now on this because it'll be in the show notes. I'm going to reference my Hawaii video, and I'll make sure that my podcast people will put this in. So that video, my NASDAQ video, and the ocean video.
Yeah.
Those 3 YouTube videos that you made just can really showcase a smorgasbord of what you can do, right? Because like even when we went to NASDAQ, some of that B-roll stuff, right, we didn't even have, so we just bought it.
Right.
Like the epic shot of way up in New York to to the more of a street view,
and then right
to
into
the street view, to the taxi, to
getting out right
Times
now.
Squares.
Yeah.
Dude, that was so epic. Why do you love what you do?
Well, first and foremost, I love entrepreneurship.
Nice hat, by the way.
Thanks, man. Just all y'all renters do. So first and foremost, like Corey, I love entrepreneurship. And doing this has allowed me to work for myself. But I also love creativity, and it allows me to be creative. And I love working with other people. I love people, Corey.
Right.
I just love people. And so you get to, like, as a photographer and a filmmaker, I get to know you really intimately, because if I don't, I'm not doing my job that well. So I get to know you really well. I get to know your brand. I just love people. So I get to really bond with my clients and really tell their story and help them be successful. And that's really fulfilling to me.
And it has been.
Yeah.
It's been a great experience, right? And so like, and it's not something that you just do, I think one time. So like even we, we are doing, we have a yearly contract that we've put together to keep giving and delivering assets. And we're coming up like, hey, we're gonna be going to San Diego.
Right.
And so we're like, hey, let's, what can we do in San Diego while we're there? You're like, dude, I got this covered. I've got 4 or 5 shots already in my mind.
Right.
Right?
Yep.
And we talk about making vignettes.
Right.
So what are vignettes?
Yeah, so those are purposely created for Facebook ads, right? So they're quick little stories that set themselves apart from all the stupid little info things you see on Facebook. Like, for example, the little underwater drowning at work is a little vignette, right?
Yeah.
So basically it's like a fun little ad. We make it 1 minute long, so it can even go on Instagram.
Right.
And it's just a really fun little skit that's funny, but that drives a message about, you know, getting out of the hustle and grind.
Yeah,
and doing
whatever message you want to tell. So like there's drowning in work, you know, and what's fun about this whole process is because you're very creative, and I think I'm a creative as well. So we've been like bouncing ideas like, hey, let's do this.
Yeah.
What would it look like to be do this? Just like how we're doing this shot on this rock right now.
Yep.
I don't know. So for those who are watching on YouTube right now, you are seeing an epic shot that we put together because we just wanted to make it cool.
Yep.
Right?
Yep. And I was gonna say, Corey, you're right. Like I work like ongoing with my clients, and I'm only gonna have 5 clients. We have about 3 right now, and so we're just adding like 2 more because I'm traveling with you guys. I'm constantly like working on scripts and stuff, and we have shoots and events we cover. So really, I only work with about 5 people, so I can really do all the visual of your brand.
Right. And there is a difference between like someone thinking they go, oh, you know, I hear people, oh, I got a brand. Well, do you, right? Like most people don't even know what brand is. And for any of you out there, one of the things that you have to have is what's called a branding guide. So like we know our colors. We have a light blue, a dark blue, a red, right? A white. We know our font. Our font is Antonio, and then the little squiggly one is called Better Than something, right? I can't remember exactly the last name of that one, but Better Together is the font. That is right.
Yes.
And then we also my logo is Adobe Castline, and so you take all these little things and then you can theme your brand, right? So a lot of times in our YouTube or in our Insta, right? Just even still assets for Instagram. Like, so the reason I've got Daniel here is because I believe that visual assets can truly drive your business. And if you're out there and you're wanting to be, you know, a multifamily syndicator, you're trying to raise private money, you need to put yourself in leadership, places of authority. And the best way to do that in today's world is with visual and audio and video assets that help tell your story and tell your message.
Corey, if the people that you're wanting to do business with, if their first contact with you is online, they're not going to vibe with you by reading text. It's got to be a photo. It's got to be a video. If you're online, if you're trying to attract investors or customers or anybody, if it starts online, you have to have something to market, and that has to be a visual. That has to be a visual asset. It has to be a photo. It has to be a video. Because if you and then it could get worse. Because if you have a photo and a video, but it's like a selfie, yo, what's up, and it's a crappy video, then you don't look like you're the one.
Right.
So it's everything.
And there's a mix. So I mean, there is a mix though. So because sometimes just they're like, hey, I'm in my spot, I'm doing my deal. But there's
you have to
also
have some of that, but you have to have
truly branded messaging, right?
Right.
Very, I think, scripted, high-end quality, good storytelling. Storytelling is what we're talking about, by the way.
Right.
It's not just, you just don't shoot it, and like we don't do these things just like, hey, let's do it off the cuff.
No. We
Right?
shoot brand photo stories.
Yes, we already have an idea of what the story is. It's not always exactly scripted. I don't work very well scripted, but if you know your material, it doesn't matter as much.
Right.
It helps if you have a better idea, right?
For vignettes, they're scripted, but for some other stuff, we cut it together.
But for the most part, it's a truly visual journey, right? And I want to say this for anybody out there right now: if you have the chance, you've got to check out Daniel Woods. So how do they find you? How do they find your stuff?
It's really easy. It's danielwoodsbrand.com.
Daniel Woods Brand. What about your Insta?
Daniel Woods Visuals.
Daniel Woods Visuals on Insta. And Facebook?
It's The Real Daniel Woods.
See, there's 3 places to find him.
There you go.
Right? But if you
My name is bad for branding because it's like John Smith. Well, not that, but there's a lot of Daniel Woodses and someone took my name.
Here's the thing. If you will go look at his photography, his videos, all the stuff you've put together, you were, so talk about shooting Sony.
Yeah.
Right? You're on your way to becoming a Sony artisan.
I hope, yeah. I've been doing a lot of stuff for Sony. They've invited me to put on shoots for the launch event for the A7. The A7 III, huge camera. It's destroying Canon and Nikon.
Right.
We went up there.
I own one now, thanks to you.
Yeah. And I just got back from Sony Kondo, which is a Japanese word for enlightenment and creativity. And I did underwater workshop training up there. And that was like it was like the best thing at
Right, you did a training. So you were teaching under the Sony brand.
Right, yeah.
How cool is that?
Yeah. Totally cool.
So here's the thing, man, and I've been talking about this for a while now. So I was talking with Shelly about, you know, the power of what we've experienced, because in the last year and a half, ever since we had the shoot where we did our personal brand, and that led to our business brand, that led to all the video shoots that we've done, it has propelled my business, like epically. Like we had a vision of what we wanted to achieve, that I wanted to be an info, teaching what I know.
Yeah, educator.
Yeah, an educator. And it started at that moment. Once I saw it, I'm like, dude, that's the way I can use what you do, my personal message, right? And to drive it. And dude, that is exactly what has happened, right? I cleaned up my act. I got better websites. I designed them with a brand in mind. Right? I did everything with a brand in mind. I know I had a branding photographer. I know I had assets. We started building our websites with the assets you created, right?
Yeah, because you can't do it without assets.
No, you can't.
It's just text that no one reads.
Right, and then, and you don't want some other person's photo. You want your photo. You want your picture there, right? Not some Shutterstock crap image, right? You want your image.
Yeah, it's you. They're buying you.
You're buying your brand, right?
Right.
And so I think I realized the power of branding and storytelling. And so for those of you out there, you've got to be a thought leader. You always should be teaching what you know, right? At all times. Teach what you know, and then always learn what you don't. And so part of the reason you're on this podcast is to learn what you don't know. And one of the things you may not know is you need a branding photographer.
Yeah.
And I highly recommend Daniel Woods.
Well, thank you. I have a quick question for people listening.
Yeah.
How many of you out there know Corey or have recently come on to Corey because of some of the photos that you've seen that I've taken of him? Right? Probably lots of you listening know him because you know his photos.
Right.
You know his videos.
Right.
If we didn't have those photos, you wouldn't know Corey.
Yeah, and so like even when we go on site on whatever stuff, we'll usually take a crap ton of still images, right? That's our Insta, right?
Right.
And then
image a day.
Image a day, man. And then also and do the vignettes and tell our small stories in between.
Right.
And then have maybe a bigger message somewhere in the mix as well.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how you create your personal authority. So, brother, it's getting late.
Yeah.
Our sun's almost gone. It's been, what an epic. Come on, dude. Tell me that's not epic. I mean, look at us, dude. I mean, look at this epic shot, dude. The sun's getting ready to go down. We're up on top of a rock. I mean, this is the good stuff, dude. No one that I know takes the time, and it took time. We got here at 5 o'clock. You got here at 5 to do a 7:30 podcast.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Like, that's the type of work you got to put in
Corey
to make it happen.
Corey Peterson, the Big Kahuna, is set apart. I love you, man. I love you, bro.
Man, I love you too. Hey, listen, I appreciate you. Always, we go beach.
We go beach,
beach, brah. And so, listen. So if you're listening right now, and you know you want to do this thing called multifamily investing, man, I'm going to tell you right now, you can do it. You can have everything that you totally desire, that you dream of. Sunsets and palm trees. I talk about it all the time, and it's really just it's setting your mind right. Talk about dreams, right? Having a dream. Do you remember when you were a kid and you used to dream big? Now, take whatever dream you think you have about real estate, right? And then I need you to blow it up and like make that dream a little bigger. Now, once you've done that, take that dream and then I need you to expand it so far, so big that it should make you almost tremble. The thought of achieving that dream should make you tremble. See, the reason most people never hit their dream is because they set it too low. They set it too low. And if they do hit it, it's no big deal. It means nothing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when you set your dream high, see, the thing is, you want a very audacious goal, a very audacious dream. I want to affect the world with my message. I don't want to affect just my city or whatever. I want to affect the world with the message of multifamily, of sunsets and palm trees and cash flow. That's the difference. That's what gets you to the life that most people will only dream of. And that's why you need to become a cash flow creator. Listen, if you believe it, you can achieve it because your paradise is possible.
Yeah, I mean, you guys hearing Corey talk right now about dreaming big. Like, I've had the privilege, and it is a privilege to be surrounded by high-level people, but also people that care about you. Corey Peterson cares about Daniel Woods. He cares about people. But I'm telling you, you hear his passion. The guy figures stuff out. He dreams big, and he knows what he's talking about. And that's why you're here. Keep following Corey Peterson. You know, buy his information, come to his seminar, because he wants to teach you how to get where he is. And he does teach you that, like, at his seminars. I've been in the room. It's amazing. And and it's awesome.
It's real, isn't it?
It's real. It's real.
It's authentic too.
It's authentic, and he's doing it for the right reason. The guy doesn't need to. You hear this all the time. I don't need to be doing this. Well, actually, it's freaking true. He doesn't need to be doing this. Corey wants to do it because he wants to change. He wants to affect the whole world, like he just said. That's right from his heart, and he's totally authentic. And I just wanted to share that because I've known the guy like really intimately for like the last year and a half, like from the inside, and I see how he operates. And
yeah, you've seen the whole process, like from start to finish of you know, am I full of crap or am I really living the dream that I talk about?
He lives the dream. Yeah, I mean, he's not perfect. But he's a dang good dude. So, yeah.
Oh, dude, once again, dude, brother, I appreciate you, man. Thank you for coming by.
Yeah.
Thank you for taking the time to set up this.
Yeah.
And listen, we will see each other soon because we got to do some stuff in San Diego.
That's right. Let's get out.
Thanks a lot, you guys. Thanks for coming to the podcast. Tune in next week and see our next episode.